Hello, students. Today we're going to discuss sex and gender and its relevance to sociology. Now, throughout your life, I'm sure you've heard of gender and sex and even may have used these terms interchangeably. Within sociology, though, these two terms mean different things. So first, let's discuss sex. Sex refers to the biological characteristics that define an individual as male, female, or intersex. These characteristics typically include physical attributes, so we're looking at things like chromosomes, hormones, and reproductive organs. It's important to note that even these distinctions can become blurry when it comes to individuals who are intersex. Next, we're going to look at gender. Gender refers to the social or cultural distinctions of behaviors that are considered male or female. Gender encompasses roles, behaviors, expressions, and identities. Continuing on with gender, we're going to look at gender identity. Gender identity refers to a person's deeply held internal perception of their own gender, so how they identify and how they see themselves. This may or may not align with the sex they were assigned to at birth. For example, a person assigned female at birth may identify as a woman, while another person assigned female at birth may identify as a man, non-binary, genderqueer, or any other gender identity. What is really important to note when we're discussing gender in sociology is that your gender identity greatly impacts how you are treated and how society views you and what you have access to. So, distinguishing sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions. Now, gender identities and expressions are going to go hand in hand. Let's first start with sexual orientations. Now, sexual orientation refers to a person's physical, mental, or emotional and sexual attraction to others. So basically, what you are attracted to. Common sexual orientations include heterosexual, attraction to individuals of the opposite gender, homosexual, attraction to individuals of the same gender, bisexual, attraction to individuals of both genders, pansexual, attraction to individuals regardless of gender, asexual, lack of sexual attraction, and there are many more. Those are just a few to note. Now, gender identities is your perception of your gender and how you identify. Gender expression is the ways that you identify to the world through your clothing, your hairstyles, your behaviors. All those means of outward expression is gender expressions. It's a reflection of how individuals choose to present themselves to the world. And this may or may not conform to societal expectations or stereotypes associated with their gender identity. Now, I'm using the term gender identities many times. What does this mean? Let's look at a few examples. We have a few examples, and there are many more. For example, non-binary individuals are individuals who identify as non-binary, don't exclusively identify as either male or female. They may feel their gender identity falls somewhere outside the traditional norms. Let's continue on to genderqueer. Genderqueer, this term encompasses a wide range of identities that do not conform to societal expectations of gender. Genderqueer individuals may reject the idea of a fixed gender identity. Let's continue on to gender fluid. Gender fluid individuals may experience shifts in their gender, meaning they have times when they feel more masculine, feminine, or somewhere in between, all at different times. Agender individuals may feel a lack of connection to any gender or may identify as gender neutral, feeling that gender does not apply to them. Transgender individuals have a gender identity that differs from the sex they were assigned to at birth. Again, these are just a few gender identities, but I hope it helps you to understand the idea that we're discussing. So the influence of socialization on gender roles in the United States. Socialization plays a crucial role in shaping gender roles and expectations in the United States. From a young age, individuals are socialized into culturally prescribed norms and behaviors associated with their perceived gender. This socialization occurs through various agents, including family, peers, media, education, and religious institutions. For example, boys may be encouraged to be assertive, competitive, and stoic, while girls may be socialized to be nurturing, passive, and emotional. These gendered expectations are reinforced all throughout your life through your family, through the media, through institutional practices, your education, and more. And it highly affects you, and it may cause you to internalize these ideas of what it means to be male or female. And this starts at a very young age, a very young age. We can see that infants and, people treat infants differently based on their gender, and based on the sex they're assigned. For example, if an infant boy is born, many people will describe him as being large and strong and use more of those attributes. Where if an infant is assigned female at birth, family members or friends might focus more on her looks, saying, "Oh, what a pretty baby." And this continues throughout your life. This can go into the toys that you are given to play with as a child, and also the expectations that go along with you. For example, the different type of chores that you might have to do in your household, mowing the lawn versus doing the dishes and helping out with dinner. And also, the expectations. Is it expected for you to hide your emotions or to be more open with your emotions? Is it expected of you to be physically tough or more um, more nurturing? All these things are tied to gender, and it highly affects, how we grow up, how we see the world, and how the world sees us. So, the stratification of gender in major American institutions. Gender stratification refers to the unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, and privileges based on gender. In major American institutions such as politics, education, and the workforce and the media, gender stratification is present. So we can see this in political leadership. Women are underrepresented in positions of political leadership, with fewer women serving in elected offices at the local, state, and national levels. Let's look at the workforce. Women continue to face wage disparities, with women earning less than men for comparable work and being concentrated in lower paying fields. And we'll look a little bit at some statistics there in a moment. And within the media, gender stereotypes and biases persist in media representation, further perpetuating gender inequality. So let's look a little bit at more information on gender inequality in the workplace. The gender pay gap persists, with women earning approximately 82 cents for every dollar earned by a man. And this actually comes from the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Continuing on into different aspects of gender inequality, we have gender based violence, including sexual harassment, domestic violence, and sexual assault. This disproportionately affects women and girls. Responsibilities. Women often bear a disproportionate burden of caregiving responsibilities, which can limit their educational and career opportunities. For example, many women are expected to work and then go home and fulfill basically a job at home as well, from child rearing, so taking care of the children, taking care of the home, cooking dinner, cleaning, all of those things. Let's continue on to discrimination. Transgender individuals face discrimination and violence, including barriers to accessing healthcare, employment, and housing. Let's finish with discussing a little bit about feminism. Now, we've discussed feminist theory already in this course, but this is a little bit more of the history. Feminism is a social and political movement aimed at achieving gender equality and challenging patriarchal systems of power and oppression. In the United States, feminism has evolved over time with several waves of activism and advocacy. The first wave of feminism in the late 19th and early 20th century focused on securing legal rights for women, so focusing primarily on the right to vote. The second wave in the 1960s and 70s addressed other issues of equality, including reproductive rights, workplace discrimination, and gender roles. The third wave, beginning in the 90s, was focused on sharing women's voices and women's stories, especially from more of a diverse background. Feminist activism and scholarship have contributed to significant advancements in gender equality, highlighting the ongoing need for further change and advocacy. I hope you found this short PowerPoint helpful and my conversation of it. If you have questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to discuss this further in class. I hope you have a great day.